Hello everyone, my name is John and I am the CTO of Phyrexi. I will present you how we helped build and launch Heroes of Metaverse in 8 months, and I hope you enjoy. Uh, Heroes of Metaverse is a real-time RPG action game in a simulated world with random generated arenas, and the project started with a large community already on the announcement of the project on the start of 22, which got involved on February, where we were able to build combat systems, help on arena generation and loading, help on planning and implementation of the entire game architecture all together with the team, and also work on the automation of the and distribution of the game to the stores, code review, and many other things. And then what? What happened? We received a new challenge to actually build an entire game from scratch with only the Phyrexi team. And this challenge, of course, it's hard, but also it's really interesting for us, because in this time we build the game fully internally with our expert team, and of course continually delivering the game directly to the player, and of course this time we are alone, so we actually need to find our own way and build a really incredible game with your own hands. So I want to change a little bit the title of this presentation. Let's talk about how to build and launch a game in 3 months, and why I think this is more interesting than, because it's faster, it's cheaper, and actually bring results really faster than, in many ways, right? What developer don't want to actually build a game in 3 months? In the theory, is really easy. You just need to actually build a game, but when you start to plan and build and so on, you actually gonna understand you need to be really organized. So what you can expect from this presentation? Well, we are gonna to talk about how to organize the project, how to develop the project, and how to deliver the project to the masses. Okay? And well, you may be surprised by the topics we are gonna cover, because it's not about program and art and things, but more about how you plan the entire game to actually be built and successfully delivered to the players. So let's talk about organization and why organization is so important. Most of good games cannot be built on chaos. So set up a good environment to build the game is as important as building the game itself. Okay, so first thing we made very clear inside our plan is how our team is gonna communicate, how a studio will align the expectations with the stakeholders and also with the team. How much people we are gonna actually hire, and is this person's really important to build the game, what they are gonna do, what, and is actually what time, right? And on the development pipeline, we had to address things like how to track the work done, how we are gonna test your game, how we are gonna send the game to the stores, right? And on the management side, what is the capability of the team? We don't want to actually make a project that's far from the capabilities and the time we have to build it. But we also want to actually reach ROI positive at the end. So not only the project is done, but the project is done on a way that is actually capable of produce not only ROI positive but profit for the stakeholders. And of course, it is interesting to think positively, but you need to do your research and see the overall performance of the industry, because you don't want to overpromise and under-deliver, or maybe try to set a KPI that's far from the reality, right? So it's important to stick with the overall performance of the category you are looking to build your game. And let's talk then about communication. Phyrexi is a entirely remote company, so communication is completely a key to our success. And we think social networks can be distracting sometimes, so we avoid set them as the main way of communication. Okay. So to address the questions I said before, we choose a communication software that is far from the social networks like Discord, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok. None of them. Even email, I think, is a little bit distracting because you can actually receive spam and many other things that is not related to the work. So elect something like a private channel like Microsoft Teams or Slack or whatever you want. You just need to be out of social network. Also, you need to track your progress inside the project. So how you're gonna do this and how you're gonna align the expectations. We set milestones, so there is a fair goal both for the team and for the stakeholders to be achieved together. All right, and in each milestone we had one KPI in focus because we think the math is critical for the success of the title, right? For example, we set to the prototype the idea of test the day one and reach at least 30% of stickiness on the day one after the first test. And as much important as to develop the project is how many people we are going to actually have inside your team. Um, you need to take your time as to review the people you're gonna bring to your project, and you need to do as many rounds of selection as necessary to ensure that you are gonna bring the right people. Why? Because as a remote company, you need to trust your people. And when I say that, this is because you are not gonna be able to track hours. You are not gonna be able to exactly say that if they are working or not. You need to actually track on another way, which is tasks. By tracking your partners, right? Inside this new reality, you need to entirely scrap the idea of let's have everyone working together and instead focus on let's work together to reach the goal. And in this way, not everyone is gonna work on the same time, but you actually need everyone to be aligned with the goal and aligned with the idea of the tasks and so on. As much important as the plan of how to build the game, you need to know your player. Why? Because knowing your player usually is a little bit underestimated. You actually need to know really well who is gonna be the player that is gonna consume your game. You need to know their hardware, so you can actually achieve stable frame rate and decide what's the right art to your project in accordance with the possibilities of the hardware that's gonna run the game. That's gonna save you money from build art and check that the art is not gonna run properly inside your game. Know what your players expect from your game as well is important. They have your own tastes, and these tastes cannot exactly match yours. So know them are critical to actually implement is actually what they want, and not get biased from your vision. Okay, and of course know what returns you expect from the project, because you don't want to actually discover that the industry doesn't fit for the right marketplace, or the category of your game doesn't fit to your audience and so on. And when I say to understand your player, you need to actually dive in really deep inside this. So I will actually build a profile here, which is the person I think is the person who actually plays Phyrexy Inc. Sarah is a nurse. She lives in Paris, takes metro every day to your work. Usually this commute is boring. She is lucky to find a seat, but she is lucky to find a seat always. Most of your family and friends are sleeping on the time she is already awoken, so she don't have many people to talk. And also the metro makes the Wi-Fi lost signal with frequency. So she wants to play games on your 20 minutes of travel. Well, Sarah is a fictional character I built, but do you recognize Sarah on someone close to you? Maybe someone far from you? By doing this exercise, giving names and backstory, you actually can understand exactly how your player is gonna consume your game, and that way you can actually plan your game perfect for their needs, not your needs, their needs, right? And make, of course, the game perfect to them. Let's talk a little bit about the development pipeline. What do you need to do? To create a successful game, you need to streamline the work like a pipeline, so that's possible to reach the final goal, which is publish the title. So we have three steps here, but of course we have more sub steps on each of them, which is pre-production, where you need to write down how many members you're gonna have on your team, which is the timeline of the project, the art direction you're gonna have, the game size, how much play time the player will usually play the game, which are gonna be the milestones, what features you are gonna address in each milestone, how many pennies you are gonna spend on each milestone, and of course sum it up to have the overall budget of the project, include for sure license, salaries, tax, and many other small costs, as much as possible to be accurate on your plan. And when you have all these things done, you start the production, which you are gonna set the dates of the start, the dates of each milestone, and the tasks you are gonna do. You don't need to actually dive on each task at this actual moment, but inside the production you're gonna need software that to report your progress, and for sure you're gonna need software to automate your builds, so you don't need to have hands of your team actually wasting time building the project and pushing it to the store. Let's make a machine do that. And on the launch side, you may need to make sure, even if it's not your attribution, to ensure that there is a market plan for the game, there is you are gonna be able to build content for the market campaign, and of course help the acquisition by improving the retention of the game. So on the development pipeline, you're gonna have 5 different steps, which is prototype, where you're gonna test the core idea as soon as possible. You're gonna put all the features that you think there is a risk for the project at first in this core idea, and then on the alpha you are gonna build a small MVP. So I classify MVP with something that you can actually monetize. So you need to actually build something that people want to use, and also actually exercise a little bit of your monetization techniques. For the beta, you actually need to increase the content, increase the retention, increase everything that can help you to achieve a better long-term usage of your game. And for sure, at the end of this, you are gonna have something that's very crafted, so you can actually soft launch and bring it to the masses, where it's gonna be a epoch where you are gonna do less features and polish the features you already have. And at the end, with everything done correctly, you are gonna close your eyes and launch the game without to worry about the game is gonna perform well or not gonna perform at all, because you already know how the game is gonna be consumed, how the game is gonna be successful. So you can concentrate all your efforts in customer acquisition and achieve the high positive of the project. Well, and let's talk a little bit about the milestone itself, because the milestone is really important. You actually need a concrete goal with some KPIs. For example, here I have the milestone of bricks, which is beta. So the game is already in production. We have here ad integration, double number of diamonds with video ads, daily video reward on main screen, in-app purchase. We would like to bring the content to 300 levels, so people can have more levels to play. Increment more features to achieve to have more diversity in the levels, like laser line explosions, radial explosions. And for sure, at the end, as I said, we on the beta we would like to test the day 7, which is 1 week of usage of the game, with the idea of reach 35% of success of stickiness on day 1 and 7% on day 7. And of course, automation is your Burget's friend. Why? If you build your game with automation from day 1 and push the binaries to the target stores, you are not gonna have only the builds being distributed right. You are actually gonna have a process which is very consistent in the delivery of the project. So you don't need to worry about someone gets sick and not be able to push the game to the stores. This way you always gonna have someone online and able to build the project, so you can test it and check for bugs, check for improvements, right? And of course, not always this is achievable. We were able to automate the entire building and push to the Google Play and the App Store with your own tools, but sometimes the store doesn't have the API, so of course automate is smart. Don't try to actually over automate it. And finally, the launch. You have to know exactly how the final store gonna distribute your work. So taking a look on the tracks of distribution of the Google Play, we found that they have internal track, alpha, beta, and production, which we use it as a way to reach out to the players and reach out the right targets, and then we were safely to push it to the production with eyes closed, because we already had tested the game on the store, not on APKs or IPAs, which is not the representation of what the player is gonna get. On the App Store, we use a test flight, so same idea. We had test flight internally, we had test flight externally, so we push the builds to external when we reach a goal or a milestone, and everyone get the builds on your devices without worry. And for sure, you need to track your progress during the development of the project. So how you're gonna make sure you know exactly what's happening on the player's device? You can actually take a look on Unity crash leaks, for example, or Firebase crash leaks, or any other software to track bugs on production, so you can address them really fast. And how you're gonna check if you are reaching out your KPIs. For sure, from day one, make sure to install at least once analytics software. I usually recommend what the software that your data analyst thinks that's fine. Doesn't matter. You just need to actually produce good data so people can analyze it later and find the correlations and find in spot opportunities to grow the game. Some examples like game analytics, Unity analytics, Firebase analytics, Flurry, and so on. You can choose. And that's it. I hope this helped you to launch games successfully as we do. And I am open for any questions.